This is Super Yacht News with E. Sisman.
Hi, welcome back to the channel. Sorry I've been away for a while, almost a week now. I've been traveling. So anyway, let's get on with the news. So on my left here, you can see photographs of Motor Yacht A. She is in Ras Al Khaimah right now, and she's been moving between the World Resort in Dubai and Ras Al Khaimah pretty much since she got there in March, April time. Boat is owned by Andriy Melnichenko, as you all know, and he is currently on the sanctions list. His other vessel, Sailing Yacht A, is arrested in Italy. You can see from these photographs here, great photographs by the way, sent in by an anonymous subscriber or a subscriber who wants to remain anonymous. And you can see that there's still no flag or ensign on the stern there, where there should be one. And also underneath the letter A, there should be the port of the flag state. It used to say Hamilton there. It does not say anything currently, which means the boat is still not registered with a flag state. Anyway, just an FYI where that boat is. So we'll move on to the next, and this is an interesting one. I'm sure you'll all find it very interesting. In the last video, we mentioned that Motor Yacht Eclipse was in Marmaris, and we said that there was a bunker next to Motor Yacht Eclipse. Bunkering fuel, she was filling up with fuel, and we said that the boat had been there for quite a long time and it looked like she may be filling up. Well, we had some information come into us. Now, I just want to preface this with, we've not been able to verify this. Apparently Eclipse did fill up and they took on 1 million litres of fuel. Now, to put that into perspective a little, we talked about Andromeda recently doing these big trips from the Seychelles over to Australia and then on to French Polynesia. That vessel, which is a big vessel, 107 meters, has a capacity of 370,000 liters of fuel. 1 million liters of fuel this boat took, and it reportedly cost 41 million Turkish lira, and that in US dollars is $2.2 million. Now, like I said, we can't verify these numbers. But I can verify that 41 million Turkish lira is $2.2 million, but I can't verify that's how much fuel, but that is probably around about where they would be. And that is quite an incredible amount of fuel, isn't it? $2.2 million to fill up one time. All right, so we'll move on. Quite a lot of people have been asking lately about REV Ocean and what is happening with that vessel. That vessel was originally meant to be delivered in 2021, but there have been various delays with that boat. I've got some videos that we did in the past that you can check out if you want to know more about it. Now, if you don't know what REV Ocean is, it is a vessel that is being built. It's a research vessel, but it is being built in the owner's areas, are being built to superyacht standards. Some people have listed it as a superyacht. It's already on the Wikipedia list of largest superyachts as the largest superyacht. And it would be the largest superyacht if it was going to be one, because the dimensions of the vessel is 183 meters or 600 feet with a gross tonnage of 17,440. Now, currently the biggest vessel is, the biggest superyacht is Dilbar at 15,900. So this would be the biggest superyacht. But the vessel's not going to be registered as a superyacht. It's going to be registered as a research vessel. Anyway, the reason we're talking about it is because they started the build in 2017 and it was meant to be completed in 2021. And then they announced in 2021 that there were going to be delays and it was not going to be ready until 2024. Now, I've been in contact with the communications director for the build, and he's now told me that because of construction delays, they anticipate a delivery of 2025 now. Now, that will be 8 years from when it was originally built, when they originally started the build, should I say. Now, the owner of this vessel is a Norwegian billionaire, and I'm going to put his name on the screen because I have no idea how to pronounce that. I'm not going to try. But that vessel has been plagued with delays. 2025, that is a long way off. They said that they've been using the ROV and their submarines and stuff on another vessel to carry out research whilst their boat is still undergoing the final part of the build phase. The hull is completed. It was completed in Romania and it was towed up to Norway to be completed, but it's still there as we talk right now. All right, we'll move on to Yacht Pacific X. You remember we mentioned this vessel quite a lot recently. Vessel has been in Turkey since the start of the invasion of Ukraine. After it did a dark trip on the Pacific side of Costa Rica, and they did a trip through Panama Canal and across to Turkey with the AIS switched off. We've got more coming about that actually in a future video or possibly a podcast. So the vessel is up to her old tricks again. She has renamed herself on AIS as her MMSI number. So she's removed the name Pacific X and put the MMSI number, as you can see on the screen. And she has recently, in the last few days, transited the Suez Canal. And so the owner of this boat is Leonard Mickelson, and he's been sanctioned by the UK, Canada, and Australia. Another thing that they've done whilst they're on this trip is that the destination, which was listed as unknown, so apparently the captain didn't know where he was going, but they've changed the destination from unknown to armed guards on board. So they are currently broadcasting that as they navigate a quite treacherous area known for piracy. But the vessel is obviously heading in that direction. It's heading east after transiting the Suez Canal, should I say. So we'll keep track. I suspect that the AIS might get switched off once they clear that area, though. All right, so we'll move on to a major story now, and this is about Vladimir Potanin, and not Vladimir Putin, but Vladimir Potanin. He has been sanctioned by the US. So the US State Department put out a statement on Friday saying that they have imposed sanctions on Vladimir Potanin, who is one of the richest men. Now, according to Forbes, he is valued at $25 billion. That's with a B, $25 billion. Now, they sanctioned Vladimir Potanin, but they didn't stop there. They also sanctioned his wife and his adult children, and his yacht, and a company that he owns a major share of called Interos, which is an investment holding company. He actually controls that company. So that's what the US State Department said in a recent statement. Now, his yacht, they didn't name the yacht by name, which is unusual. Now, he did have 3 yachts which he used as charter vessels, and they almost look identical, all 3. One was called Motor Yacht Anastasia, which is now called Motor Yacht Wheels with a Z. One was called Motor Yacht Barbara, which we believe he sold, was in Genoa recently and refit in Amico shipyard. And the third boat was called Motor Yacht Nirvana. Now, on the Superyacht fan website, they've said that he sold that vessel to somebody. But we believe that he still owns that vessel. But if you know different, then please get in touch and we will do a correction on that. But we believe that his yacht is Motor Yacht Nirvana. So back to Potanin. So he is a former Soviet bureaucrat. He was briefly Boris Yeltsin's deputy prime minister. And he was one of the people who oversaw the privatization of various state-run enterprises, which is how a lot of these Russian billionaires became billionaires in the first place, by getting very lucrative deals when they broke up the previously state-run companies. So following the attack on Ukraine, or the invasion of Ukraine by Russia, he stepped down from the board of the Guggenheim Museum Foundation, something which he was a member of for 2 decades. He also owns a stake in the largest nickel and palladium mines in the world. Palladium is found in catalytic converters on cars, and his company produces 40% of the world's supply of that product. So you may be wondering why they sanctioned his wife and his children. Seems a bit harsh. But what has happened in the past with certain people like Alexei Mordashov and Andrei Melnichenko is, as they've got wind of the sanctions, and just before, sometimes the day before or the day of, they have removed their names from the ownership of companies, and the second person's name on that list would be their wife or their children or something like that. So they've tried to circumvent the sanctions by removing their names from things. So the US has obviously got wise to that, and they've just sanctioned those people as well. There might be more to it than that, but that's my thinking on why they've sanctioned those people. Okay, so that is the last story we've got here. We have got an update on Sarafsa, the yacht that is in Monaco with the bad paint job. But I'm going to bring you that in the next video because I'm running a little bit long here. I would remind you to please vote for the Super Yacht of the Year if you haven't done that already. I'll put a link in the description, and I'll try and put a link up the top corner here. But if you go to the community section of my YouTube channel, you will see the poll there. Please read the criteria before you actually vote. It's not just like which one's the coolest, but it's more to do with we're doing it more like a Time magazine cover. When you think of the yachting industry of 2022 with all of the sanctions and stuff, which yacht stands out the most? Currently, the boat winning is Motor Yacht Nord, and second place is Motor Yacht Amadea. Interestingly, on the Patreon page, it is is Amadea in the lead, with Nord coming second, which is quite interesting. We will post who we think the winner of Super Yacht of the Year is. We will also give you the details on who the patrons think it is and who you yourself, the viewers, think it is as well. All right, so I'm going to leave it there. Be sure to check out our Patreon page, by the way. I'll put a link down below here in the description. And in the ticker there, I'll put a link there so you can go to it. It's patreon.com/eSysman. Be sure to check out our new channel too, 3 Minutes of Maritime. I'll put a link. There's always a link in every video in the description underneath, so you can go and check that out. It's suddenly grown quite a lot lately. We've got almost 20,000 subscribers now, which is great news. So yeah, anyway, I'll leave it there, guys. Enough advertising. If you've got any information for us, please get in touch with the normal fashion. You can get us on the About page of the YouTube channel. You can get us on Instagram, on Facebook Messenger, and you can also get us on Threema. Be sure to like this video, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell for future notifications. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch up with you soon. Bye-bye. All right, so we'll move on to the... oh, actually, that is the last story. Oh, shit. If you've got any information for us, please be sure to get in touch with us along the normal fashion. You can get... Oh, Jesus Christ.